This series is not meant to be an accurate representation of the current NASCAR Cup Series. This is a fictional series, ran on NR2003 for enjoyment. I hope you enjoyed today's race. Welcome to the NR2003 Sim Season All-Star Race here at Homestead Miami Speedway, where 20 drivers are going to race for $1 million here tonight. We've already had a full day, an action-packed day of racing here to determine who the 20 drivers that will race for that $1 million is, and it has been an eventful day so far. 2 races earlier in the day determined these top 20. 20 in each of those, 10 made it in, and here's the field for tonight's race to race for $1 million. We're moments away from seeing who's going to walk away with that $1 million in their back pocket. So we're going to take you trackside to get the engines fires and get these cars on track, ready to race here in Homestead.
Drivers, start your engines!
Engines are fired. We're ready to go. Starting lineup. Going to roll across your screen. As with the qualifying races, it was determined by a random draw. We have seen a lot of excitement today for this race. It's 25 laps long. It's relatively short, but 10 laps longer than the qualifying races. And of course, as you can tell, it's at night, which changes everything. Penske put all 3 of their race cars in the race here tonight, which is a pretty amazing feat. 4 cars if you want to count Harrison Burton, who raced his way in. Hendrick Motorsports represented by 2. Joe Gibbs represented by 2. Pace car pulls in. We're getting ready here. Drivers ready to go. It's the restart box they come. Green flag in the air. We're racing in the All-Star race. Logano will jump out to the early lead here. You can see we've got 3 wide in the back. Racing is going to be pretty crazy here. Exhibition races usually are. We've got a big pack of cars back here racing. Bubba Wallace moving up the middle. Battle for the lead between Logano and Truex. But the racing is right here in the middle. Everything super, super tight. You can see the cars, the back ends of the cars swinging out. Totally different track conditions than they dealt with earlier today. We almost had 4 wide there. Chase Elliott stuck up on the high side of the racetrack. He started on the front row. Big changes also up the front of the pack. Martin Truex Jr. has taken the lead. A couple of Bass Pro cars, 1 and 2. Not on the same team, not even the same manufacturer, but Bass Pro Shop with some big representation at the front of the field. But Martin Truex Jr., who has struggled this season, is now leading the All-Star race here, coming to lap number 4 with a strong, strong run so far for Truex. We've got 4 wide in the back of the pack. It was 4 wide there for a minute. 78 raced his way in. Might notice a little bit of a different look on that car. Changed up the paint scheme for tonight's action. But Mijay McLeod was a pretty big story in that first qualifying race, finishing 3rd with some speed, and here he is now through the last place starting position, but he is up 10 spots from where he started. So some major speed in the 78 car, really bringing it here at Homestead. And keep in mind, we come to Homestead twice. unfortunate for the Hendrick Motorsports bunch. Oh, Elliott, he got moved up the racetrack by Daniel Suarez, who also started up towards the front of the pack, and he is racing down and back now. So these cars race really, really well in the day, but struggling here in the night. Kyle Larson, another one of those cars. I mean, he won his qualifying race earlier today when the sun was out, but struggling here as the lights are on and the track temperature has cooled down quite a bit. No change at the front of the field. Martin Truex Jr. still leading Austin Dillon, Joey Logano, and Justin Haley. Those four have actually broken away from the rest of the pack. And back here, it is a hornet's nest of race cars. Looking like it might be four wide on the front straightaway. It definitely is. Pack racing here at Homestead. Pretty close contact there with the 45 and the 9. Elliott trying to work his way back up. Ty Dillon taking a look at the inside of Elliott now. Front of the field. Still the same Truex on cruise control. He has won races here in the past. He won his 2017 championship right here at Homestead, back when Front Row Motorsports was around, the 78. Bass Pro Shops was on that car as well. But in the back of the pack, it is a mess right now. We've got Brad Keselowski, Austin Cindric, Michael McDowell. A lot of these guys have raced their way in. Keselowski won his race. So a big storyline here is the two drivers that won their races are stuck back in the pack. And some of the drivers that struggled, they're up the front of the pack, which is a pretty big storyline to see how temperature sensitive this racetrack is. We've got Bubba Wallace, Justin Haley. These guys did not finish very high. Joey Logano finished 6th in his qualifying race. Austin Dillon finished 7th. Truex finished 7th. Bubba Wallace finished 8th. Justin Haley finished 10th in his. So these guys are not the ones that were big powerhouses in their qualifying races. A little bit of strategy going on with drivers setting their car up to work well in the night when the track cooled off. Because as we had talked about earlier as well, the 78, he had finished 3rd in his qualifying race. But here he is running in the back of the pack. And the field now starting to get a little bit strung out. Battle at the front of the pack, still about the same between Truex and Austin Dillon. Oh, 0.2 of a second separating them. Fastest car on track right now is the 31. But Truex is pretty quick himself. Bubba Wallace also posting a pretty fast lap. So don't count out the 23 quite yet. Now keep in mind as well, the car in front of Bubba Wallace, Justin Haley, is pretty high up in the points right now. Haley has not won yet this season, but has been very consistent in that race car. You have to think with Tyler Reddick's win at Dover, RCR, ECR must have some confidence coming into here at the All-Star race. Six laps to go. Martin Truex Jr. still your leader. He's expanded that lead a little bit more over Austin Dillon. So Truex putting on a clinic here in the All-Star race. See a little bit of a closing up of Austin Dillon and these guys behind. But I don't think it's going to be enough, as Truex is just dominating this race right now. With 4 laps remaining, coming to 3 laps. Martin Truex putting on a clinic, showing them how it's done. The $1 million could be the 19s. Coming to 2 to go. And almost a 0.4 of a second lead for the 19 of Truex. This has to be a confidence boost for the 19. This might not be a points-paying race, but to have the speed that he has had, Truex off of turn number 4. He's going to see the white flag last lap. Around turn 1 and 2, Dillon not close enough. Closed it in a little bit that last lap, but not close enough to get by Truex. Truex off of turn number 4. He's going to be $1 million richer. He wins the All-Star race in Homestead. And what a race it was for Martin Truex Jr. Led almost every lap and comes home with the $1 million. And he's going to bring it around here on the front straightaway and do a burnout for the fans. And Martin Truex will bring his car on the front straightaway. $1 million richer. He's going to burn it down here on the front straightaway. your All-Star winner, Martin Truex Jr., a dominating performance here in Homestead. $1 million to Martin Truex Jr. Taking a look at the finishing results here from the All-Star race in Homestead, Martin Truex Jr., your winner. No points for this one. The only position that mattered was number 1. Martin Truex goes to victory lane here in the All-Star race. Huge confidence going into the Coca-Cola 600 next week for the 19 team and Joe Gibbs as a whole, Toyota as a whole. Huge confidence boost, but $1 million goes to the pocket of Martin Truex Jr. We hope to see you for the Coke 600, NASCAR's longest race, next week. Thank you for tuning in today for the All-Star race. Martin Truex Jr., your 2022 NR2003 Sim Season All-Star race winner.